In 2023, Alaska welcomed 2.6 million tourists. Of those, 65% were cruise tourists and 32% arrived by air. That leaves a measly 3% who came via the roads or ferry system. And it makes sense. Alaska is a long way from anything. We were part of the lucky 3%. We had driven up from the lower 48 with a summer to spend and no real plans. We just knew we wanted to get off the beaten path. And in today's second part of our 4-part Alaska series, I'm here to say that we succeeded. Today, we're sharing our time exploring the Kenai Peninsula, traveling up to Denali, and finally, experiencing the most secluded luxury we've ever had. We last left you in Homer, where we had an incredible sea kayaking adventure. Keen to get out more, we traveled over to Seward. Here, there's a very popular hike up to the Harding Icefield and to the Exit Glacier. It's in a national park, and dogs aren't allowed. Honestly, this is the type of hike we often skip. We like to half-joke that we'll leave the easily accessible hikes and destinations for when we're old and in need of something a bit more front country. But this glacier is melting. Fast. So we decided we'd brave the crowds and leave Bruce in the camper for the day. It was a warm and sunny day, and we made great time up the well-worn trail, which climbed rapidly to the viewpoints. There were already plenty of people at the top, but it was easy to see why. The view of the Icefield was absolutely stunning. The mountains coming out of the ice were like islands in a sea, only the tides of the sea only went in one direction. When we sat down to enjoy the view over lunch, we looked down to see some white shapes on the edge of the glacier. We took out the big lens and realized we were looking at a family of mountain goats. While most of the goats were in their summer outfits, one still had most of its winter coat and looked like a sheep that had escaped in the middle of being sheared. While our footage was highly distorted by our mediocre glass combined with the mirage from the temperature differential, we just loved watching these creatures enjoy the day. As I mentioned, this glacier is retreating, and alarmingly, the rate at which it's retreating is accelerating year over year. The glacier is what makes this place habitable for these creatures, and I fear that once the glacier is gone, the goats will follow. We drove back north from Seward and made a detour to Hope. Hope is a small gold rush town on the southern shore of the Turnagain Arm. It was a rainy day, so we donned our foul weather gear and walked around. There was a surprisingly well-kept museum that had a lot of artifacts from the early days of the town. While we came to Alaska for the outdoor activities, we had been enjoying learning about the state on the plentiful rainy days that made adventuring challenging. Thankfully, there was another sunny day in the forecast, so after picking up provisions in Girdwood, we planned a multi-sport adventure. It had been a bit since we had our packrafts out, and Portage Creek was begging to be paddled. The challenge with paddling rivers is that you need a way to get back up river. And with only one vehicle, we'd either have to walk or hitchhike. But because we had our mountain bikes, we self-shuttled. First, we dropped our bikes off at the spot we had planned to take out. We walked into the thick brush, locked our bikes up, and hoped they would be there when we returned. Then, we drove to the put-in on Portage Lake. We blew up our rafts and walked down to the water. We got on our rafts and paddled down to the river.
So we didn't really know what to think about this river because online everything says it's quite easy. Class 1, really not even much Class 2. But then when we were gearing up, there was a bunch of folks in like full whitewater kayaks, dry suits, helmets, the full 9 yards. So we got a little intimidated. But then we got on the water and it's pretty chill. Beautiful day. The water's cold though. The ranger told us it was 37 degrees. So you definitely don't want to go swimming.
Our packrafts tackled small rapids with ease, but the small splashes of glacial melt woke us up and kept us on our toes. We were enjoying this mostly relaxing float until we passed someone on the side of the river, and then another person on the other side, both out of their kayaks.
Hi there! Y'all good? Okay. Hi.
They told us they were fine, but something didn't smell right to us. So just downriver of them we stopped. And I'll let Heather explain what happened.
Just finished up a little pack raft and mountain bike multi-sport day. It was a really fun adventure. Super mellow, nothing crazy, but we had a lot of fun out on the water. And then it was...
Heather rescued someone.
I kind of rescued someone. This dude flipped his kayak and left his paddle to go down the river, and he was trying to chase after it with a kayak full of water, and it was just like a disaster to watch. And I was like, sir, you need to get out of the water. It's like 32 degrees. Your paddle is not that important. So Dana kayaked after his paddle, got it for him, and I helped him get out of the water. He was fine, but very, I don't know, stubborn. He didn't want my help. I was like, you need my help. You're losing this fight.
Then he bear sprayed himself.
Yeah, and then his bear spray went off as he was getting out of the river, and he caught himself right here, and luckily neither of us got it in the eye because I was right next to him. So yeah, a little bit of a chaotic moment there, but overall a really fun adventure and just a cool way to experience this area.
After the rescue, we continued down the river, the air seeming just a bit warmer and the color just a bit brighter. We were happy to have helped someone. We eventually reached the takeout and hauled our boats on shore. Thankfully, our bikes were right where we left them, and then we locked the kayaks in their place.
Secret stash.
Bikes are still here.
That's good.
So we now are on the single track pedal back. It's really kind of double track, but it's beautiful in here. There's fireweed everywhere. It's sunny. So working the legs out after the arms, and the dog's stoked because he's just a passenger on the pack rafts. Go swimming. Go ahead. You made it home, buddy. You made it home.
We'd now spent about a month on the Kenai Peninsula. We'd seen so much, yet also had notes for many more places to visit the next time we come to Alaska. You might notice how I say that so matter-of-factly. The next time we come to Alaska. By this point, Alaska had already gotten under our skin, entered the bloodstream. We know we'll be back eventually. The Alaskan summer is a symphony of light. It's green and vibrant in every corner. But the symphony is short, and fall would be just around the corner. We still had other places in Alaska to check out. While the Kenai is incredible, it represents just a minuscule percentage of the state. So we headed north again. My uncle met us in Talkeetna, a few hours north of Anchorage. We rented a small dry cabin along a river to serve as our home base. Guess what? It rained. But we didn't let the rain soak our plans, so we walked around the cute town, known for being the gateway to Denali, the tallest mountain in North America. Speaking of Denali and the rain, we had read all the statistics. Only 30% of visitors to Denali actually see the peak. In other words, 70% go home without seeing the tip of the mountain. Even on sunny days, the mountain is socked in with clouds most of the time. But the next day was forecast to be clear, so we took a chance and went for a hike in the neighboring Denali State Park, which claims some of the best views of the mountain. We climbed up a trail that overlooked a valley and Denali beyond, and we almost couldn't believe our eyes. There it was, right in front of us, the high one. Unfortunately, our video camera malfunctioned and fried my memory card the very next day before I was able to offload our footage. So this is the only video footage we have. Thankfully, Heather grabbed a few video clips from her camera and took these amazing photos. Losing most of our Denali footage angered me. I was mad that I wouldn't be able to share the incredible experience we just had. But looking back, I'm no longer angered at Panasonic or SanDisk or even my bad luck. Losing that footage made me realize that it's all in my memory. It's a part of me now. And with luck, I'll keep that memory until my last day. After our incredible Denali experience, my uncle headed back to the lower 48, while Heather and I continued north. And we had just booked an experience north of Fairbanks that we were very excited about. We resupplied in the state's second largest city and then continued north. Our next stop was going to be unlike anything we'd ever done before.
All right, we are on our way to hike to a backcountry hot spring. We're going to be spending 2 nights in the woods in a cabin, very rustic, not fancy at all. It's like $30 a night, but you have to hike 10 miles out to the cabin, and then there's private hot springs on site. Super cool adventure. We're stoked about another chance to get out backpacking. This time we'll have a roof over our head instead of a tent, which is kind of fun. Change it up a little bit. Came highly recommended from some friends who were here a couple of years ago, and we're really excited to check it out.
Last time we backpacked, we forgot some of our food. So this time we did a really good job planning. We just went to Safeway and got a ton of food. And because we don't need to bring tents or cooking gear or a bear box, because all that's taken care of at the cabin, we went a little all out on the food. No freeze-dried meals for us. This time we are bringing all real food, which I'm very excited about. We even got some gummy bears. And
Those are essential.
I mean, we would have brought those anyway, but it's going to be great.
We packed up our gear and our exorbitant amount of food at the trailhead. And then we hit the trail. The hot springs were about 10 miles of hiking out. While it was relatively flat, much of the terrain was wet and boggy. Our feet were soaked within the first hour. And though the bugs were really not bad on the Kenai Peninsula, now that we were inland, we needed to keep moving to keep from getting swarmed. I'm not gonna lie. While there were some beautiful parts of this hike, the best way I could describe it is a slog. So after a bunch of hours walking, we were ready to take our wet boots off.
This it?
Train cabin.
Nice. Bigger than our normal house.
We opened up the cabin, dropped our unnecessarily heavy packs, and quickly moved on to the main event.
That's not so bad.
The area has 3 cabins available for rental, and 3 hot springs. As luck would have it, we were the only people renting any of the cabins, so we had the whole place to ourselves. You better believe we tried out each of the hot springs. 2 of the springs were large round tubs, and the third was a square one made out of wood.
It's too hot.
The temperature was controlled by choosing how much hot water was allowed to enter the tub. At first, all of the springs were really hot,
Definitely like,
but after letting them cool off a bit,
Take a
they were
second.
just right.
but it's not burning me.
All right.
Like it's getting easier as I stand.
All right.
As much as we wanted to simply marinate in the hot springs all day, we did need to get out from time to time to avoid cooking ourselves. You might be surprised to hear that as full-time overlanders who are always trying to get far out there, we're not very used to being disconnected from the world. We've got Starlink on our truck, so anywhere we go, even way out in the middle of nowhere, we're connected. But since our truck was 10 miles away and there wasn't a lick of cell coverage, it was refreshing to detox from our devices a bit. To feel that even if you wanted to be productive, there was no work that could be done. There was no video to post or message to respond to. We just talked, read, and enjoyed each other's company. It was bliss. To get some exercise, one evening we walked over to the Backcountry airstrip near the hot springs. There were golf balls all over the place, so we thought we might have a round.
You can either hit with a splitting ball or this big nail or a 7-iron or a 4-wood. You want the wood?
I think so. Isn't it like you use the big ones to tee off?
Yeah. Right.
A grassy field with balls to chase, Bruce was in heaven.
Can you tell I've never done this before?
Am I gonna get hit with this ball?
No.
Close.
Really?
Sure. Oh, you're really close. Yeah! Go get it, Bruce!
We had worked up an appetite on the back nine, so that evening we made a feast of a dinner. Fresh sockeye salmon, mashed potatoes, and Brussels sprouts.
Dehydrated food.
No.
Not bad for camping. And we even had dessert.
Cookies. There's an oven here. It's a luxury.
What? Spacing.
How are these cookies going to turn out?
Probably tasty. Maybe not very beautiful.
And they were delicious.
Listen for me in a violin. Listen for me when life is turning. Listen for me when the world is burning. Babe, would you listen for me?
On our second and final morning, we soaked in our favorite pool yet again, savoring this incredible experience. We then cleaned up, packed our bags, shut the cabin, and got walking. At the beginning of this video, I mentioned how the majority of Alaska's visitors come via a cruise ship. That fact got me thinking about how so much of our world these days comes pre-packaged, shrink-wrapped and sanitized and homogenized. Your eggs are the exact same color and size every time you buy them. Apples in the grocery store are indistinguishable from each other. You can buy a wedding package that includes a venue, flowers, photographs, and food. Just bring your guests. Humans have succeeded in making experiences attainable and accessible for the masses. We bundle all the little things that make up a vacation and call it a package. Air tickets, accommodations, ground transportation, and food. Oh right, and excursions. That's what they've named anything that is outside the normal schedule of sitting, sleeping, or eating. Because of this packaging, millions of people are able to get out and see the world. And I truly believe that more people seeing the world, even in such a sanitized manner, is a good thing. Travel changes people for the better, regardless of the method. But that method of travel is not for us. Not right now, anyways. You see, once you experience a trip that is untethered, a trip that has no itinerary, no deadline, and no guardrails, it's hard to put that tether back on and follow someone else's plan. We seek true adventure, and finding that is not easy in today's world. Sure, there's a higher level of risk, but that also means there is a higher level of reward. And let me tell you, it's worth it. If you enjoyed today's video, I've got good news. We're only halfway done with our summer in Alaska. Subscribe now to be notified when the next video gets posted. And spoiler alert, we push our expedition truck farther than we ever have in the past. You're not going to want to miss it. If you just can't wait a week for the next episode, you can join our Patreon today and watch all 4 episodes now. Plus, we've got GPS tracks, behind-the-scenes footage, and much, much more. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next week.